welcome to First Time Home Buyer, a show that's simple to understand and gives you the right information and projects to buy in your budget, in your city. I'm Manisha Natarajan, and joining me, Sameer Jasuja, founder and MD of PropEquity. Sameer, good to have you, as always.
Pleasure.
All right, let's take a quick look at the markets.
It's a pleasure being here.
Thank you. All right, let's take a quick look at the markets we will cover today for the top picks in property. We will take you to Bengaluru, and here there's a new market we'll cover on FTHB, Neelamangala, whether you should hold or sell, how are the market dynamics looking. We also have Pune covered on the show today for Kondwa in a budget of 40 to 45 lakhs. So very affordable market, and also a market which has less supply or under supply, so likely to do well. Of course, more of that on the show. NCR, Bhiwadi to be specific, it's just outside NCR, we could say a suburb of Gurgaon, whether that's a market where you should be holding or selling or even buying fresh. And then, of course, we take you back to Pune and Keshav Nagar. Here the budget is, of course, much bigger because Keshav Nagar is a well-supplied market and a slightly premium market at 1 crore plus. So those are some of the markets we'll cover. But our first caller is waiting by, Lazarus Danam. And Lazarus, hi. Welcome to FTHB. Go ahead with your question.
Hi, Manisha. Good afternoon. So my question is that should I hold or sell my property? So I have a property at Tata New Haven, which is off Peenya in Bangalore. The possession is supposed to happen sometime in the month of March, April 2018.
Okay.
The rentals over there are pretty low currently, and I'm not sure whether to hold on to the property or sell it off.
All right. So the annualized returns in this market, Sameer, have been a little below 5%. This is off Tumkur Road, Neelamangala, the market that we're discussing. What would you recommend to Lazarus?
Well, Manisha, we find the location to be a little low because of the social infrastructure around, and we give it a rating of 4.5. Although it's an undersupplied market, but the social and physical infrastructure developments are still under construction and in the pipeline. It will take 4 to 5 years for this location to be very good for end use. And if I look at the price point at 4,500 rupees a square foot, it's reasonably high, and you can get good properties in good micro markets in Bangalore at that price point. But having said that, the Tata project is a good project, and we would recommend him to definitely hold on till possession, because at this point in time he will probably not even get his capital as such, and that's why once the property gets ready, there will be little bit of a spurt, and there will be some appreciation, and people prefer ready end use properties at this stage. So he should definitely hold on till possession and then look at an exit.
All right, Lazarus, so very clear, because, location rating is just 4.5%, which means that social infrastructure will take some time to come up, which essentially means that your rentals are going to be low. On possession, it's a sell, but till possession, hold on to this property, because you may not even find a buyer or even recover your cost. Up next, we have an email from Abdul Qadir, and he is looking for a 2 BHK in Kondwa area of Pune in 40 to 45 lakh rupees. Again, another undersupplied market. I'm surprised with, so many markets having an oversupply, 2 upfront on FTHB, which are actually undersupplied, Sameer.
Manisha, the main reason for this one is also because this is a ready to move in query which we are evaluating, and for that the market is undersupplied. Only 150 units odd available in ready stock over here. We like the location quite a bit and give it a rating of 6. Over the last few years, Kondwa has actually emerged as a prominent residential destination for the workforce employed in central areas, and also it has got a good connectivity and proximity to the cantonment area, which is superbly green and very nice residential area, and areas like Kalyani Nagar and Hadapsar are also not too far away. Coming to the key data projects that we recommend, Euphoria is the first recommendation by Ranwal Group. This project's been ready since 2014, available in the resale market. Then we have Essentia by AB Bhatt and Company, ready since 2016, but yet available from the developer. It's at a cheaper price point of 4,500 rupees a square foot. And lastly, we have the Inspira by Anand Realties. This has been a new project ready in 2017 only. available with the developer, and in the 3 projects, this is the cheapest at 4450 rupees a square foot.
All right, Abdul, rarely have I seen a combination of a location rating of 6, and of course Samir saying that it's a very green area and one of the upcoming residential areas of Pune in a budget of 40 to 45 lakh rupees. If you can get 3 options, it's worth going for. Here's a quick summary of what PropEquity has thrown up their data. Euphoria by Ranwal Group, Essentia by AV Bhatt & Co, and Inspira by Anand Realties. Okay, there's another email. This one comes from Rishika Sood. She says she's looking for a 3 BHK in Keshav Nagar in Pune at a budget of 90 lakh to 1 crore rupees. So staying with Pune, Samir, this is of course a much more upmarket area, residential area. Go ahead. What are her choices?
So, Manisha, first of all, an excellent location, getting a rating of about 7 with all the infrastructure in place. It's an old micro market. It's located on Magarpata Road, which connects it to the Eon IT Park as well, which is not far away. One of the largest employment generators in that area of Kharadi, and even Amanora town, which is only 2 kilometers away from this location. So all in all, good. It's also appreciated, this micro market, by 4.5% on an annualized basis. The market has got an adequate supply for under construction properties, so enough choices. And the best part is a lot of reputed good developers operating in this micro market. So good developers as well as good projects to choose from. First one being Godrej Infinity by Godrej Properties. This project is getting ready in 2019 and available with the developer. Of course, all these projects are RERA approved as well. Purva Silver Sands by Purvankara. This project is available at 9,400 rupees on carpet area. So keep that in mind. Getting ready in 2020. Price is all inclusive 1 crore. And lastly, we have Riva by Konark Karya Developers. This project is also getting ready in 2019, available with the developer, and this is much cheaper, a good 15% cheaper than the other 2 recommendations at 7,800 rupees on carpet area. Samir, we are almost closing this year. How's Pune looking as a market? We tend to get a lot of questions for Pune and Bangalore. So one believes that, of course, these markets are probably holding up better than the rest of the markets in India. But is that your summary as well? Manisha, unfortunately, the residential markets across India are suffering right now, and it's only you would define it by different degrees of who's suffering more. Pune and Bangalore definitely are resilient micro markets because they have end user demand. They have a lot of employment generation happening, and in fact, Pune is also the retirement capital literally of the country, and also is an education hub. So Pune, one thing that is there is that you can never really go wrong on real estate demand over there. It's coming from many areas, although appreciation may be slow, but I definitely do believe there's genuine absorption in that all the time. Market. All right, so here are the projects recommended by PropEquity. Keshav Nagar, a budget of about 90 lakhs to 1 crore. In fact, some of the top branded developers of the country: Godrej Infinity by Godrej Properties, Purva Silver Sands by Purvankara, and Riva by Konark Karya Builders. Our next caller is waiting on the line, Mohan Agarwal. Mr. Agarwal, hi, good to have you on the show with us. Please ask your question, sir.
Sir, I have purchased 2 flats in THD Gardens, Bhiwadi.
Okay, sir.
2-bedroom flats. I want to know what is the possibility of being able to sell them at this point of time. We had bought them for investment point of view by my late daughter, who unfortunately expired.
Wow. I'm so sorry to hear that, sir. Well, Samir, of course, probably no more reason to hold the investment, and if he can liquidate it and move them into more higher yielding return assets, it could be better for Mr. Agarwal. But Bhiwadi is just now, as Gurgaon grows, is pretty much expanding towards Bhiwadi. I've visited that area or that city. Looks pretty neat and clean, and lots of supply there of projects. What do you suggest?
Manisha, like you've rightly said, yes, it's an industrial town. There's got about 2,700 industrial units out there, including some MNCs. Social infrastructure right now is yet to develop in a big way. It gets a location rating of 5, but it's heavily oversupplied micro market. The projects that you are holding, the THT Garden project by Trehan Home Developers, is a project A. It's been ready, it's available in the resale market, and it's trading at about 18 odd lakh rupees for a 965 square feet flat, which is, you know, literally under 2,000 rupees a square foot, where the weighted average price of the market is about 2,600 rupees. And you're also getting some rent, which is a decent yield because the property price is so cheap. So we would recommend you to hold on to this property, because unless you want to liquidate it and put it in mutual funds or in the equity markets, you will not get an alternative real estate at this with this price point. So if you want to stay invested in real estate, continue here. You're not going to get too much appreciation, but a rental return will be good. If you want to completely exit, because since we did not know the other reason where your daughter had expired, so you could definitely look at an exit, but at this price point you can't re-enter real estate again.
I would agree with that summary of Samir, Mr. Agarwal. You know, under 2,000 rupees a square foot is just not possible in today's environment to even build. So if you're getting good rental returns, then just hold on. You might, in fact, Bhiwadi market might catch up. The sentiments across NCR are very depressed right now, sir, but you have a ready to move in property. So probably you could wait out about a year or so. Time for a short break. A reminder to all of you, if you've got a question on buying, selling real estate or anything concerning a home loan or tax, GST on your under construction property, you can write into us at home@nw18.com. And of course, we will give you the best picks in your budget and also expert answers. On the other side, we take some of the big challenges home buyers are facing when it comes to understanding the GST bills coming their way from builders. So stay tuned. Before you take that big step to buying a home, open your email and drop us your details. We'll make sure you get the top choices in any market in your budget, backed with demand and supply data, location ratings, and of course, project credentials. Right now, though, we're going to discuss GST on under construction flats, which has been causing quite a bit of heartburn amongst buyers. Nishant Shah, partner at Economic Laws Practice, joins us to take our viewer questions. Nishant, thank you very much and good to have you with us.
Thank you.
All right, let's hop across now to Sanjay Khatri, who's joining us from Singapore. Sanjay, hi. Go ahead with your question.
Hi. So, hi, Nishant. My question is, I have recently booked a flat in High Mount, Hinjawadi Phase 2. Now, actually, it's in under construction property, and the builder is offering me a 3 BHK flat on 80.5 lakhs. Now, the query here is, because I kept hearing that the GST, the taxation has come up in the effect, and then builders are passing the benefits to them. However, when I checked with the builder, he's saying that he's passing the benefit to me, but he's he's increasing the floor price. On the other hand, if I'm just asking him that if he's just telling me to pay the 12% of GST, then he's saying, okay, I'll reduce the price of per square feet floor price. So my question here is whether I'm getting the GST benefits or not. On the one hand, he is raising the floor price and reducing the GST to 6%. On the other hand, on force, he is just taking 12% on the GST and reducing the prices. So he's giving me, I mean, in a nutshell, he's giving me two prices of the same property.
Sanjay, yes, I've got your question. In fact, Nishant's also gone through it in detail. Nishant, I'm even wondering why developers are giving these two options, because honestly, as per law, you have to charge 12%. You can't charge a 6% GST and say, hey, my basic sale price will be higher, and if I charge you 12% GST, my basic sale price will be lower. This is kind of not even legal, right?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. So, GST is leviable at 18%, but there is a reduction for the value of land, which has been deemed to be 33%, and therefore the effective rate comes to 12%. Now, because they are now moving into GST, they will be eligible for certain credits, which will help them to reduce the floor price. And therefore, the option of charging 12% with a reduced floor price is the appropriate one. Now, what happens is that some part payment must have been made earlier, some part payment is being made later on. In the earlier regime, the total levy was coming to 4.5% of service tax plus a 1% of VAT, typically in most of the states. VAT is a state-specific subject. And therefore, the total burden was coming to 5.5%, which is now going to 12%. So therefore, there is an increase of about 6.5%. So what the builder is trying to say is that one is, ideally, he should be, every invoice as per the rules of GST is required to be levying a 12%, and therefore whatever credit he's getting will be the reduction, which is the appropriate methodology. The alternate that he's offering is saying that, okay, I'll keep my burden as the same which it was earlier, which is around 6%. But he's saying I'll increase the floor price, which means he's saying that I'll have to pay to the government full 12%, but I'm recovering from you the balance of the 6% through the floor price, which actually is not an appropriate depiction of the sale price on the invoice. So in both the scenarios, but what is important for Sanjay to see is that the builder is actually passing on the benefits arising to him, because he's obligated to do that under the GST regulations. So what is important for him is to ensure that the credit arising to the builder is being passed on to Sanjay. My view would be that the 12% with Sorry.
That's very hard, isn't it? Sitting in Singapore, how does he even get access to that sort of information? Even builders say they're still a bit confused about what input credits are they likely to get or could claim, especially where some of the buildings have already been 50% completed and the rest are still undergoing construction.
Yeah, so there is an implication, and ideally the builders are expected to be doing an appropriate calculation of identifying how much is to be completed post the GST regime, calculating the credit arising because of that, and then passing on to the customers. It is a little complex, and for a customer to be sitting there and identifying how much the builder has passed on to him is even more complex. More so, the builder, the credit that he's getting is subject to what is the credit being passed on by his vendors. Now, a builder has a lot of suppliers. He may have an electrician guy, he may have a civil contractor, various others. Each of those guys are also benefited because of GST. Now, they pass on to the builder, and the builder thereafter passes on to the customer. So it is complex. But to conclude on Sanjay's query, I would say that 12% with a reduction in the price is the more appropriate methodology.
I would say that Sanjay, stay on the right side of the law, just pay 12% and reduced basic per square foot price. In fact, you know, if there is a minor adjustment, you can also write into the builder and say, I hope that you're passing on all input credits to me, and let him reply and have that formal email with you so that tomorrow you can even take that up in case you have a question in terms of whether he's passed those benefits or not. All right, let's get in our next query. Again, a GST. Sujit Vaikule from Pune has asked, I booked an under construction flat before the launch of GST. My question is GST applicable to my flat? Because my agreement was done before the launch of GST. Nishant, this is a question which comes to us almost every week. I mean, people are still bewildered on why should they be charged GST when the agreement was signed way before it.
Absolutely. So, you know, the answer is this way, that GST is applicable on supply. Now, supply, especially in case of these kind of contracts, which are ongoing contracts, is to be determined based on when the execution is carried out, the invoice is raised, and the payment is received. If 2 out of these 3 are happening post GST, then on that element, the GST becomes applicable, to keep it in simple terms. Therefore, you know, in case of Sujit, to answer his question specifically, that amount which he paid at the time of booking, because the fact that 50% was completed, he must have paid certain amount, that would not be liable to GST. That would be liable to the old tax, which was the VAT and the service tax. The remaining element of payment that he is making post GST, the invoice is being raised by the builder post GST, and the payment by him is being made post GST, and therefore GST will become applicable on that amount, because the supply will be construed to have taken place later on, even though the agreement was signed prior. So therefore, I think the builder is right in charging on the remaining amount a GST at 12%. But here again, Sujit should ensure that the credit accruing to the builder is being passed on to him.
Which essentially means, Sujit, that you have to make sure that the overall cost of the flat also gets an adjustment and is brought down, because you shouldn't be paying both GST plus the same price for the flat that you were paying before GST became applicable. So the portion which is still not completed and the bills which are coming to you must be a little bit reduced. Again, just put it on email, get a proper formal reply from the builder that he is passing on input credits to you. Finally, this email again on GST, Anup from Chennai says he had booked one apartment 2 years ago under the 1090 scheme. Now, this is where the maximum trouble is happening when it comes to GST, wherein he had to pay 10% of the remaining on possession. But guess what? The builder claims, Nishant, in these cases that, look, I've already constructed 90%. Where am I going to get input credit on it? But now I have to charge GST. Now, how fair is that? And what is the legal position here for both the builder and the buyer?
Yeah, so, you know, again, in case of Anup, what is happening, he's again signed it earlier. The builder is charging a certain amount, and builder is right in saying that, you know, he's not going to be getting credit on those elements. Now, there is one tweak in the law which says that when the supply is made, so where the builder has procured certain, say, cement, steel, etc., has kept it in stock and is going to be using it later, if he has invoices, those based on those invoices which are less than 1 year old, he can still take credit. So if those credits are rising, he would still be in a position to pass on certain benefit to Anup in this case, because the 90%, even though the construction has been completed, the supply will be construed as being happening in GST. Therefore, he will have no option but to charge a 12% on the balance amount that he is recovering in the post-GST scenario. The only facilitation that he can pass on is whatever credits that accrue to him. Now, if just 10% is remaining, the 10% actual execution would result into certain credit, and certain stocks which he has, for which he has invoices, those also credits he may be able to garner and take it in the transitional credit, which provisions exist in the GST law. So that is the benefit that he may be able to pass on to Anup.
So it's only 1 year, whatever cement or materials you've used in the last 1 year, or the services of, let's say, electricians, plumbers you've used, you can offset as input credit. But anything before 1 year, then of course it can't be credited. But Nishant, thank you very much for clarifying. It's crystal clear to us on how GST is going to work for home buyers. Of course, those who have to now bear that 12% extra cost without getting adequate input credits will feel that pinch. Builders, of course, are not ensuring that they don't enhance the cost or price of the flat because nothing's selling, so they don't want to take the prices up anymore. Nishant, pleasure to have you with us. I also have to say goodbye to Samir because we were hoping to take another buyer question, but that's for next week. It's a wrap from us, and I'll be back with you same time next week. Thanks so much for joining me.